Yet when the bill came to a vote in the House of Representatives, no one in Oklahoma's congressional delegation voted for it. Joining me now from our nation's capital is Congressman Frank Lucas, the ranking member of the House Ag Committee and an opponent of cap and trade. Well, Congressman Lucas, could the solutions being offered for us to combat global warming, could they actually cost too much while doing too little?
Oh, you're exactly right, Rob. This bill, an effort by some well-intentioned people, is certainly off the mark, and that's why I think you saw the whole Oklahoma delegation vote against it. Clearly, the effort is to address global warming, and the authors want to do that by dramatically reducing greenhouse gas emissions in this country. But the way they go about that, Rob, is through a tax and cap system where they let the federal government determine how much exhaust every business and every person puts up their stack, and also by putting a dramatic tax on energy, the production of electricity, the production of oil and gas, all of those things, and through those higher taxes driving down demand for energy products. And it's important to us in Oklahoma because we're agriculture, big consumers of energy, and we're also producers of traditional oil and gas sources of energy.
So is agriculture more vulnerable to increased energy costs than other industries?
Oh, without a doubt. There's some statistics out that would indicate when you set aside land input cost, that 60+% of the cost of producing a crop is energy related. The diesel in the tractors, the diesel in the combines, the gasoline in the trucks, the energy required to make the fertilizers and to prepare the seeds and all the petrochemicals we use, the processing that goes to turning, for instance, wheat into flour, or pigs, hogs, cattle into pork chops and hamburger, all of those things. All of those costs are energy intensive, and that's why we pay so much more. And from a farmer's perspective, Rob, it's even more dramatic when you consider that farmers and ranchers are not price setters. Unfortunately, we are price takers. So if you dramatically raise the cost of farming and ranching, of processing and preparing our food, farmers, ranchers are going to eat most of that cost, but the rest then will get shoved back down on consumers. So we get hit hard with the way they put this bill together.
But can we afford to do nothing?
Well, I would tell you that from my perspective, one of the big mistakes of the bill, several big mistakes of the bill, is they really don't designate the $700 billion they believe in new taxes they'll generate from this for a particular effort. Now, some of it goes to expanded wind energy, and I support all of that. But if the money would be completely committed to more atomic power plants, to enhancing clean coal recovery, to expanding oil and gas exploration in the United States and onshore and offshore, if we would work forward with improving the electrical distribution system so that wind power would be an option where we could produce it in places like Oklahoma and sell it across the country, I think that would be the way to go. But instead of enhancing sources of clean American energy with tremendous gusto, basically, they create a system by which they're going to force us to change our lifestyles, they're going to lower our standard of living, they're going to raise our operating costs, and they're going to make us less competitive with the rest of the world. Farmers understand this. We sell wheat and beef and pork and cotton into a world market. If this bill becomes law, and the cost of producing our crops and processing and transporting them go up dramatically, if you think for a moment that the Chinese or the Indians or the Australians or the Brazilians are going to follow our pattern, then I think you're wrong. They will have an economic advantage because they're not going to pass a bill like this. Their costs aren't going to go up. Ours will, and we have to compete head on around the world for all those products, sales.
So, Congressman, should federal money, should it be more focused on emerging technology rather than existing technology that just might have the best lobbyists?
Clearly, using the money to expand sources of American energy with a focus on clean, renewable, long-term sources of energy is the route to go. Prepare ourselves for the coming challenges. If anything, in my lifetime and in your lifetime, Rob, the biggest challenge we faced in this country has been our dependence on foreign crude oil, the shocks of the 70s, the shocks of the last couple of years. If we would use our resources to dramatically increase our sources of domestic power, whether it's wind farms all the way from the Red River to Canada and an electrical system to distribute them, or a dramatic expansion of atomic power plants producing electricity from U.S. uranium, those kind of sources, traditional oil and gas, and working to be able to burn coal in a cleaner fashion. We just need to expand all U.S. forms of energy. Let's not do it in a way that penalizes American industry. Let's not do it in a way that will cause American standards of living to drop dramatically because of these higher costs. Let's not do it in a way where Uncle Sam, the federal government, decides who can put what up their exhaust pipe and in what volume, and if they put up more than they're allowed, they have to go buy it from someone else who happens to have gotten a bigger allocation. This bill is a dramatic long-term impact on our economy.
Congressman Frank Lucas from our nation's capital, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.